This is Ramona's library book that she picked. It's called The Mermaid's Purse, and it has a lot of words. She didn't know it had a lot of words because she didn't open it. Private. That's why you picked it? Because you saw a baby's butt?
No.
Just a baby's butt crack. Just barely. He has a wrinkly forehead. Okay. All right. Get your shoes on while I read these words. A clap of thunder roared at exactly the moment my grandmother came into the world during a raging storm in 1883 on her parents' farm in Lock Center, Michigan. She was the first of 9 children, and look here, the midwife said, she's born in a mermaid's purse, a birth membrane to some, a miracle to others. It's when they're born, like, in the...
Wait, what? She was in a mermaid's purse?
It's a birth membrane to some, a miracle to others. God's blessing and gifts will fall upon this child like spring rain. My grandmother's name became Estella, for the bright star shining low in the sky after the storm passed. But she was drawn to storms, and storms to her the rest of her life. And the mermaid's purse, well, now, here's the story. She crinkled it. Call the library, please. Her big box foot crinkled it.
I barely crinkled it. One time I accidentally ripped it and it was okay.
You admitted this on camera. I'm going to call the library, please.
No.
Okay. Excuse me. This library book has gone unhinged. What was that? Do you have a confession to make on camera? Blessings and gifts surely did come to little Estella, just as the midwife predicted. She walked at 8 months and spoke in full at a year, but every time a storm threatened, it was Estella who knew it was coming long before the sky darkened. When the thunder exploded with window-rattling fury, she'd smile and stretch out her little hands and peer into the sky, as if to receive a gift. What Stella loved more than anything, from the time she was a baby, was being read to every night until she drifted off to sleep. Oh, she loves reading. As soon as Estella could stretch her right arm over the top of her own head and grasp her left ear, she was sent off to school. She taught herself to read. From that time on, it seemed she always had her nose in a book, churning butter, kneading bread, feeding the sheep and goats. When Estella needed to be alone, she'd steal away and read. After a while, Estella started collecting books. She bought them at church with money she'd made selling her apple butter, or she'd trade a portrait she'd painted for a beautifully bound book. Soon there were so many books they took up the entire upper floor of the farmhouse, and she loved every one. Stella, her father would say to her one day, "Looks like I'm going to have to build you your very own library for all of these books." And sure enough, one day, a whole crew of her father's friends showed up and built a dear little library for all her books. One of them was young Fred Barber, a rosy-cheeked apprentice. Seemed like whenever she was watching them build the new library, young Fred was watching her. Oh, he got crush on her? "That lad is making moon eyes at you, Stelly," her pa teased. Finally, the building was finished, and all the men helped carry the books from the farmhouse into the new library, with Stella carrying her share, too. "Why, in tarnation, does that fool girl want all of these books?" Pig-Ears Lawnsberry snorted. "Alls they do is take up room." They would. Just as they carried the last bundle of books into the library, there was a rumbling in the distance. Stella stood up and got that faraway look in her eyes, walked to the door. Menacing clouds were moving swiftly down the holler. She stretched out her arms and hands, and filled with cool rain, christened the library. She smiled. "I'm calling this building the Mermaid's Purse. I was born in one, and it blessed my life, just like these books do." That night at the dinner table, Stella told her father how some of the men didn't seem to care a whit about books. "They scoffed at them, and at me, Pa." "Stella, my guess is that they haven't ever read a book," her father said matter-of-factly. "Well then, Pa, tomorrow I'm going to take books around to all the farmers and see if I can get folks to open one." The very next day, she loaded up her goat cart and took the books from farm to farm. At each stop, she was welcomed. A cart? Well, that goat pulls. Where was I at? Oh, at each stop, she was welcome. Hello, Miss Stella. Nice to see you, Miss Stella. Children came over to the library afternoons to hear Stella read stories right off, but none of the farmers seemed eager to actually take a book. Take a book. Look at her. She's like, read this book. Then one hot and sticky afternoon, Eldon Dunkle's pa came skidding into the farmyard with his wagon. There's something powerful wrong with my sheep, Frank, he bellowed at Stella's pa. Come quick. Stella ran to the little library and grabbed 2 books and then jumped in the back of pa's buckboard and raced down to the Dunkle farm with him. When she and her pa got there, sheep had been lying on their sides all over the pasture, bloated and motionless. Pa raised cattle, not sheep, so he wasn't sure what to do. Stella was reading a very thick book, furiously. Pa, Mr. Dunkle, I think I know, she called out as she jumped from the buckboard. It's been unseasonably hot, right? The timothy sprouted sooner than it should have, and it says here early timothy can cause sheep to build gas in their bellies, and if you don't remedy it, the sheep could die. She's smart. Remedy it? Bellowed Dunkle. How? Look here at this page. It says you have to pierce the sheep's hide right behind the rib cage, but in front of the hunches, and that will let the air out. With that, Mr. Dunkle, Stella's pa, and the other farmers set out, puncturing the bloated sheep's bellies, and as they did, there was a rush of air, and the sheep brayed, and then jumped to their feet, none the worse for wear. Dunkle took the book in his hands and waved it. This book saved my sheep, he bleated.
How did it?
Because it had information. I guess, Miss Stella, these books matter more than I think I ever did. One day, Stella was riding through Aunt Eliza's woods when she came upon the swimming hole. She saw some boys she knew. Come on in, Stelly, someone called out to her. It was Moon Eyes Fred. Other boys teased him about liking her. Stella jumped down from her horse, kicked off her shoes, tucked in her skirt to her belt, and dove in. Of course she could swim better than any of them, even with that skirt tucked into her belt. She swam to a large rock in the center of the pond. She had no more than scrambled up on it when she heard a low rumbling off in the distance. The sky was darkening.
Why does he call her Stella instead of Stella?
Well, her name's Estella, too. It's like a nickname. It's like how I call you Momo. Mm-hmm. She heard a low rumbling off in the distance. The sky was darkening and the clouds glowed with shards of lightning. Get out of the water, she warned the boys. All scrambled out but one. Moon Eyes Fred. Fred, she shouted, the thunderstorms are coming. Oh, thunderstorms are something I know about. That lightning is closer than you think. No sooner than she had said those words, there was a bright flash of light, and Fred disappeared beneath the surface of the water. Stella jumped in and pulled him to shore. She rolled him on his back, put her mouth over his, and pushed small bursts of air into him. She gave him CPR. Stelly, what crazy thing you doing? One of the boys shouted. I read about this in a book. This is what they do in England to revive drowning victims, Stella panted between puffs. The skies opened up above them, and raindrops as big as bumblebees pelted their backs.
Worried?
Well, yeah, because he kind of got struck by lightning. The water got struck by lightning, it would seem. So she's reviving him.
How does it make him revive?
CPR. You ever heard of CPR?
No.
I'll teach you about it. Suddenly, Fred's eyes fluttered, and he started coughing up pond water. He was okay, but from then on, Fred Barber was almost never out of Stella's sight. Every week, Stella faithfully made her rounds to the farms with her goat cart full of books. Now, just about everyone took a book or two. They particularly liked a good story, but not Pig-Ears Lonsbury. He refused to even look at that book. One winter day, she pulled her sleigh into Pig-Ears Lonsbury's farm. Mr. Lonsbury, she sang out, I have a book right here in my hand that you are going to love. He loved roses, and the book was all about roses. Pig-Ears didn't look up. You're interrupting me, girl, he grumbled. There was a man standing behind him with a fistful of papers. Pig-Ears, he said, you're going to have to read these documents and sign them now, or you're going to lose your water rights. He climbed into his buggy. You don't have much time. Stella watched Pig-Ears try to understand the papers clutched in his hand. Why, they were upside down. Pig-Ears Lonsberry couldn't read.
Are they these?
Yeah, that's Pig-Ears Lonsberry. Mr. Lonsberry, I can teach you to read, Stella whispered as she touched his hand. Come to the library on an afternoon after the children leave. Pig-Ears raised his brow, not sure at all. Just then, the sky caught Stella's attention. A blizzard is coming. How could you know that? It's clear as a bell out, Pig-Ears countered. But that afternoon, the snow fell and a storm blew through the county, just as she said. He'd take a chance on Stella, after all. In a few months, Pig-Ears Lonsberry could read. Fact is, he borrowed more books than the other farmers and farmers' wives combined. Now everyone in the county knew and loved Stella and the Mermaid's Purse and its wonderful books. Then one sultry summer afternoon, Stella and Fred were sitting on the front porch swing when suddenly Stella stood up. A look of alarm came over her face. She gazed towards the horizon in the southwest. Something is coming, Fred. You'd better head for home. A far-off look came to her face, and Fred knew it was useless to convince her otherwise. When it came to storms, Stella was always right. After he left, Stella stood staring at the sky. Sure enough, a darkness started appearing far, far away, but moving at a great speed towards them. Quick, Stella warned her 8 brothers and sisters, into the storm cellar. Almost instantly, the very air outside turned to a greenish yellow. It was still. Clouds, smoky black and churning, circled overhead, and suddenly all the doors in the house slammed shut. Stella's father grabbed her by the arm and pulled her and her mother into the storm cellar, too. A screaming wind began to rage overhead. Then glass crashed and heavy things were hurled at the ground. It's a twister, Stella's father called out as he put his arms around them all. It seemed to last forever, but probably only minutes. Finally, Pa pushed open the storm door. When the family came out, they were stunned. All of the tall, luxurious green trees had been scoured bare. The house had only one wall standing, and heaps of broken boards were thrown all over the yard. 2 of the beautiful spreading oaks were ripped from the ground, and the mermaid's purse gone. Not a shelf, not a floorboard, not a book. The whole family went to stay at Aunt Mabel and Uncle Wayland's just down the hollow. The twister hadn't touched their house. I saw this funnel coming for yours. It looked like it was walking, Aunt Mabel said. Stella came down with a strange malady after that. I don't know what that means. The shock of losing all her books must have been far too much for her, her mother said, as if anyone inquired. Stella sat there in the 3-corner window, looking at the gardens and flowers with a powerful sadness, not saying anything, not a word, just seemed to be somewhere else. Fred Barber never left her side. Okay, we're going to have to finish it another day because we ran out of time. I told you there was a lot of words. Okay, pack it up.